This is my Tesla Model Y, and this has got the 19-inch Gemini wheels, and as you can see I've got aftermarket wheel trims fitted to this car. So in this video I'm just going to talk about why you should consider doing the same. Because the other day I curbed my front wheel here, so we're going to see what damage that's done to the alloy wheel, and also look at whether the wheel trims are causing scratches within the spokes as well. So why do Tesla vehicles have wheel trims? Well, the sole purpose of that wheel trim is to increase the efficiency. Some people remove the wheel trim and just run with the bare alloy wheels, but obviously you're going to see a decrease in efficiency and therefore a loss in range. So why have I fitted these aftermarket wheel trims instead of just leaving the standard Tesla Gemini wheel trims on the car? Well, there's three reasons really. Firstly, these offer more protection. They cover your alloy wheel better. The Gemini wheel trims sit within the aluminium wheel, so you're left with the outside rim of the wheel still exposed, whereas these are wider and they go over the aluminium rim and round the edge, so they offer complete protection. And we can look at that in a minute when we look at my damaged one. 90% of the viewers of this channel are not subscribed. I'm sorry to ask, but it would help greatly if you would. Just press the subscribe button. It's free and it shows YouTube you like this sort of vehicle related content. If you want to be notified when new videos are released, please click on the bell button also. Thank you, it really helps more than you would imagine. The second reason is efficiency, and these base Knorr wheel trims claim a 4% improvement in efficiency over the standard Gemini wheel trims, and I've tested that and they're right. And I've got a video on these base Knorr wheel trims on the channel already, so if you want to look at that and look at that efficiency claim in more details, then I'll put a link to it at the top of the screen and in the video description below. And the third reason is the looks. I think that's improved the look of the car. It makes the wheel look bigger because it covers all the aluminium wheel. It's in the style of the black Uber turbine wheels that you get on the performance model, and I think for the money it's made a huge difference to the car. So before I go any further, I'll just talk about the styling of these, because as I said, they're in the style of the Uber turbine wheels, and there's an awful lot of wheel trims that look very similar. But these base Knorr ones are a bit different to the others. So I was having a look on AliExpress the other day, put in Tesla Model Y wheel trim, and there are tens and tens, maybe even hundreds of wheel trims came up. And I was scrolling through pages after pages to see if I could find this design. And there's a lot that look very, very similar, but there's very few. It took me, I don't know, I must have looked through 10 pages before I found one that looked similar, or maybe the same, I'm not sure. So the difference with these base Knorr ones is they have two different type of spokes. So you can see there's a thinner spoke and a thicker spoke. You obviously get the stickers, so you get the Tesla emblem in the middle, which I don't think you do with a lot of the others. There's a reason why they can't put the stickers on, I guess sort of copyright. So they don't mention it in the adverts, but with the base Knorr ones you get 3 full sets of stickers. You can choose the colour of the centre cap there. And in the case of these base Knorr ones, they're all exactly the same. Some people don't like that. Some people prefer a left-handed and a right-handed, so the spokes are all going the same direction. But personally, I don't really care. You're not looking at these in that closer detail and you're never going to know. And the way the spokes are on this, they're not overly curved, so they're not overly exaggerated, and you really can't tell. But there's a huge advantage of having them all the same, because I've gone on broken one. So when it comes to replacing them, it's better that they're all the same, because you can buy another set and you're going to be able to replace 4 rather than just 2. So now let's look at my damaged wheel trim here, because the other day I was parking the car and I hit the pavement. There was quite a sharp granite curb along the pavement, and I gave it a right old clobber as I pulled in, and as you can see it broke the wheel trim. On the day this piece wasn't missing, it was just cracked, and the wheel trim flew off completely and ended up on the pavement, and it made one hell of a noise. All the people that were walking nearby stopped and turned around, so it was rather embarrassing. So I then repositioned the car and got the wheels away from the curb and put the wheel trim back on. And on the day this piece wasn't missing. This has since later flown off as I've been driving. It had just cracked the wheel trim, but as you can see, the aluminium underneath is pretty much got away scot-free, I think. So let's pull this wheel trim off and see whether this has protected the aluminium wheel. No, there is a bit of scuffing there. That's strange, that's not exactly where the brake is. So obviously these wheel trims have to go in exactly the same place because you've got the hole there where the valve stem comes through. But yeah, there is a bit of curbing. I suspect actually this flew off. Well, it did fly off. I suspect this hit the curb, flew off, and then this is where the wheel continued a little bit, and that's the damage I've got on the alloy wheel. So where this did originally hit the curb, which was here, the wheel was protected, but then as this flew off, that bit of bare aluminium then did rub along the granite curb. So some people have said using aftermarket wheel trims have caused scratching on their spokes where the clips hold the wheel trim in. So I'm going to have a look to see whether this has done the same, because these have been on the car for about 8,000 miles or so now. So the clips are here and they clip inside every spoke. So it's the plastic legs are in contact with the spokes and they just clip inside here like that. They're a bit different to the original Tesla Gemini wheel trims because they click on the outer edge of the spoke using the wider gap here, whereas the third-party wheel trims, they all seem to clip in between the spokes in the narrower gap. So I'm just going to get the pressure washer out and give that a quick blast to clean off the dust and the grime, and then we'll see whether there's any evidence of scratching on this aluminium wheel. So there are little black marks there where the wheel trims are clipping on in the spokes. They're very tiny, but they're not rubbing off. So is that just dirt or is it an actual scratch? I can feel it just about with my finger now, but is it rubbing off? Yeah, it is. So I think possibly the lacquer is slightly getting scratched, but it's absolutely minuscule. That one is a little bit worse, but I really wouldn't worry about it. If that did concern you, what you could do is just line the clips here with something. Maybe just some electrical insulation tape might help, but probably the good stuff to use would be this stuff. This is a fabric tape. You use this for wrapping around wiring looms, but it's also very good as an anti-rattle tape. So if I'm putting something in the car that might rattle against a hard plastic surface, you can put a bit of this tape on and that just stops any rattle. So you could put a bit of tape around those clips and that will probably stop it scratching, but really it's pretty insignificant. And this has done a good 8,000 miles or more, maybe even 10,000 miles since I put the wheel trims on. But obviously I'm not too worried about that, because day-to-day use you're going to cause a lot more damage on your alloys anyway. So it's a shame in this case it didn't completely protect the wheel because this flew off, but this outer edge here, even though that only lips round by about 4mm, it's actually done a very good job of protecting the wheel there. It's just this bit where the wheel trim then flew off because it was because the angle I was turning the wheel at the time. Then the protection had gone and it has curbed the wheel here. But what I'm going to do now is fit a new one. So I've got a new wheel trim here. I've already put the emblem in the middle and put the tape around the outside edge, so I can then put that back in place. But I've had to buy a box of 4, and that's the advantage of these ones, because they're all the same and they're not left and right handed, every wheel trim is the same. This box of 4 isn't going to be a complete waste of money. So in the future, when I damage another wheel trim, I've got 3 spare ones that I'm going to have to do that off camera, I can't risk doing that one-handed. I've then got 3 spare ones I can then put on any wheel. There, that's back to new again. And of course the curbing underneath is completely hidden and it all looks new again. So obviously I've had to buy a box of wheel covers, but individually this has been much easier and cheaper than getting the alloy wheel restored. And if I clip a curb again, maybe I won't do it at such force and such a steep angle, and the wheel trim will actually protect the aluminium wheel from any damage at all. I'll put the links to these Basenol wheel trims in the video description below. I hope you found the video useful. If you have, please do click the thumbs up because that really does help. Leave your comments or ask questions below. And if you want to know more about the Tesla Model Y, there'll be a link to a playlist below where you can see those other videos. Okie doke, I'll see you on the next one.